Welcome to Perspectivas, Global Talks on Higher Education, the podcast of the UNESCO's International Institute for Higher Education in Latin America and the Caribbean, IESALC, a global space for dialogue and promotion of higher education for all.
Welcome to today's episode of Perspectives, Global Talk on Education, where we explore our theme today, from passion through purpose, transforming talent through education. Good afternoon, I'm your host Erina Gudono, master graduate from University of Pennsylvania School of Policy and Practice, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to today's podcast featuring our distinguished speakers Amar and Maimoona, which are the member of BIBO Network community under UNESCO IESALC. And today we'll be discussing the importance of unlocking talent through education, and we are fortunate to have two incredible speakers who bring first-hand experience and insight on this topic. So welcome, Amar and Maimoona, and thank you for joining us today. And before we begin, with speakers. So Amar is an award-winning artist, global speaker, and founder of Amar Creative. She used her art for social goods and transformations, and she has a degree in Master of Arts in International Peacebuilding. Her journey spans from choir stage to the UN, empowering people through creativity and purpose-driven leadership. And at Amar Creative, she trains leaders and educators to unlock potential, enhance communications, and turn inspirations into meaningful actions. What a great profile. And we also have our second distinguished speaker, which is Maimoona. She is an SDG executive, researcher, and sustainability advocate at Superior University Lahore. She develops academic programs aligned with the UN SDGs and researchers youth engagement through social entrepreneurship. She is a member of SDG Youth Ambassador Program, and she also integrates global insights into higher education to empower young changemakers. So knowing the depth and experience two of our speakers bring, I'm beyond excited to hear from them both. We already have several questions that I will ask to Amar and also Maimoona. It's all interesting questions about how to transform talent through education and from passion through purpose. So to kick off today's sessions, I'll begin with a question for Amar and then I'll move on to Maimoona. So the first questions to Amar, you've had quite an inspiring journey from being an artist and singer to become a UN speaker and award-winning trainer. So can you share your background and the key milestone that shaped the unique way you train and consult today?
Thank you, Erina and Julia and the UNESCO BIBO Network for this opportunity. I have been creating art at a very early age, maybe before I started speaking. I describe it as like my sibling. I didn't choose it, it's part of me, but just like I love my sibling, I love art. Art at a young age was mainly drawing and crafts. At the age of 15, my mom discovered that I have a good singing voice, which added another aspect of art to my personality. At the age of 16, I started being very involved in the community. And unfortunately, it's because Lebanon is mainly like all the time in unstable situations, so it's more of a responsibility and a passion to have a better community around. In these organizations that I participated through in the social work, I have been a leader in interfaith organizations, a campus director for social entrepreneurship platforms, and this helped me increase the impact and build my leadership skills over time. In 2023, I pursued my master's degree in international peacebuilding from Hartford International University for Religion and Peace in the United States. And this was a big transformation for my background because it helped me bring art and leadership for the social development together through a meaningful and impactful way. And this is where I started my trainings at Amar Creative. And so far, I have trained engineers from the KSA, HR managers from Nigeria at oil companies, community leaders, entrepreneurs, through tracks that include but are not limited to strategic planning through creativity and art, and engineering project control from a creative lens. You're muted.
So you have been like very passionate into art since you were very young age. And I'm very curious with our second speaker, with her work at Super University, because it revolves around turning students' talents into impact-driven outcomes, which also really related to our today's theme. And I'm curious, how do you help students shift from passions to purpose in like real measurable ways? Over to you, Maimoona.
So it was more like we thought of working on the students who are in the fourth semester, quite young and fall in the category of youth. So this is how the program started, social entrepreneurship program, and it started with a structured program with so many workshops, through capacity building workshops to community engagement activities. How it all started? It started from the the capacity building of the coaches. The journey starts from the coach capacity and then transfer it towards to students. So in every cycle, we used to train around 2,500 students. And in every year by year, we used to train 5,000 students, almost 5,000 to 6,000 students a year, actually. So through coach capacity building programs, and then there are so many community engagement activities such as like Earth Guardian activities, Serve the Server activities, Me for You activities, We for You activities. These are some of the community engagement activities which help students' passion to identify their potentials, how they as a youth can create impact in their societies. What we used to do, I always talk to students and while in the workshops or trainings that every student who belongs to a different community, have a different locality, if identify a potential problem, can create a much bigger impact. So that's how we are training them. We are helping them to identify their potential as youth, and that's how they're turning their passions into a purposeful, driven life, actually. And how we are measuring all these while through project based, through like there are project KPIs and project exhibitions. Along with that, there are all these the activities I have mentioned. These are all measurable ways, actually, which creating impact. Thank you.
I see. So to dig deeper to your statement, so your initiative focus on unlocking potential through education's and structured program, right? And so I'm curious, what strategies do you personally use to identify and nurture those hidden talents among students based on your experience, Maimoona?
A need-based assessment part. That really works out great. Actually, there's a module, need-based assessment, where we used to do an activity with the student that's personal, reflective student. We used to tell students that think of ahead yourself, 5 years ahead, and then think of you. Now you're just a undergraduate student, like maybe 18 years old, 19 years old, a 20-year-old maybe student. So like think of yourself, if not 5 years, then at least a long vision of 2050, and think of yourself ahead, what kind of things you have achieved in your life. And so by this, we used to help them to identify and project a very big picture of themselves, and then we used to allot them a project same at the same time with the other activity, is that what impact you as a student now are creating after 5 years, 10 years, or 30 years. So they used to write, brainstorm all those things. And what we used to do, all these plannings and brainstorming activities help them to identify according to their localities, actually. So this helps them to identify. So this kind of a personal, very personal strategy. In workshops and trainings, we used to excite them with their, potentials, with their creative ideas. So this how really was. Actually, social entrepreneurship is a community engagement, community-based experiential learning. So it helps them to identify, it helps them to work more practical rather in classrooms. That's it.
Get it. I very agree that it's important to think practically compared to like just a theory, and need-based assessment is, I think, very a great idea to know each of one of us potentials and how to leverage from it. So I will move again to Amar. A lot of people think creativity is either something you're born with or not, but you teach it in a structured, impactful way. And how do you exactly teach creativity and art as a tools, not just like abstract ideas?
So first, I would start by what is art? Me being a portrait artist and a singer doesn't limit art to these categories. And my own definition of art is the unique way every person bring his or her own passion into their interactions. Teaching is an art, engineering is an art, psychology is an art, swimming is an art. The art that I focus on in my trainings at Amar Creative are first painting and visual arts, crafts, and music, because these types of arts bring a different version of our inner self. And second, the art of active listening, the art of asking empathy questions that go to the root causes in a smooth way without causing conflicts. Stakeholder analysis, asset mapping, the art of digging into the issue as much as possible and as wide as possible and as empathetic and calm as possible to get the best result. And these skills and art, these artistic skills, I would say, are important for every leader. I start always with a personality test because every training is tailored to the specific trainee that is taking the training. It's not just a general course that I give every time for every kind of person. And because I give trainings to to a variety of backgrounds, I make sure that I give each person the full attention.
I see. So you mentioned the importance of like personality test, and it needs to be very tailored to every student's potentials, not just like in general needs and general terms. And I'm curious for these questions, if a university instructor or a project manager is listening right now and thinking, I love the idea, but I'm not creative, what would you say to them?
So, first of all, in my opinion, and maybe not just an opinion, every person is creative, but this person needs someone to help him dig this creativity out and this passion out. Some people say, I lost my passion. I have no drive in life. I just go to work, come back, and that's it. But it's surprising because in my trainings, when I ask people like a little deeper questions that no one ever tried to ask them, they start glowing in their eyes. Like they start speaking in a very different way from the way they started speaking at the beginning. I have an HR trainee that once took a course with me. She was like, we were talking about strategic planning in her company and for her team and all this kind of stuff. And then I stopped and I stepped back and I said, what is your creating movies? And since we started talking about movies, the conversation went in a very different direction. She started telling me that she likes to create movies for children because she doesn't trust the movies that exist for children, and she wants to create something that is a safe place for both parents and children. And then I started helping her connect the creative mindset in creating a movie to get a team member in her company be more involved. And I think this is one of the examples that, you know, show us how much I think like creativity is what differentiates us as a humans, and everyone is creative. I remember once in another training, I had a trainee who has having troubles with his he's an engineer and he has some challenges with the community where he wants to build the structures, and he was like, they are not allowing us to build, like this is selfish because this is a community project and we have to build the city. And I asked him about what would he feel if his father was living in that house and he passed away, and then the government is asking him to buy the house from him. And he started changing his way of conversation. He started being more empathetic. And this is one of the arts that I have in our creative trainings. It's how to be a better leader and have a better impact on all the people around you.
What a great sharing, and I really admire your work at Amar Creative and nurture the future leaders to create a huge impact to the community. So moving to Maimoona, I'm curious, what do you say to students who feel they have no special talent or who struggle to believe they can make an impact through their skills?
So, first of all, I wanted to say, Amar, you have very great answer. I wanted to resonate that leadership really matters. And this is the only thing uh, like what we can inculcate in a students. There are students, every student born, I don't, why I'm using the term student all the time, because I've been into academia, but I've been seeing other kids as well. Every person has a special talent. But while working in an academic sector, what we have been trained so far, as I was a business student from the background throughout, and then finance and accounting student as well. So what actually is working for the special talent, it is nothing something about you don't need to be a special person for that, or you don't need to be something. Every student has this very special kind of that special kind of a unique thing in himself or herself. But what really matters is to get that thing out from that student. What is the target of all is us, as that why we started this journey from a coach capacity, is not the journey start from directly to the students. Why the all those teachers who are going to be interact to those students throughout the semester long program, those teachers are need to be the role model for all those students first. So all those leaders needs to be first leaders to let students learn that how leaders work, and how they as a student and youth can have you know uh, that special outlet. So I believe every person is a very kind. I believe every person has curiosity in their minds. Every person, either it's a girl or a boy, I believe every person has something in herself, and they are going to find their way by any way at some point in life. Uh, So they're going to, but they have to be resilient. So we all, my strategy, my department's strategy, what we used to taught in our workshops and trainings, what I use in my personal life, professional life, that is to have resilience, and then to learn to bring out all these virtues we are talking about, all these skills we are talking about, and work on it. So that's how, like, it's not a loud trumpet needs to be everybody talking about, oh, you're greater, you are the great guitarist, and you're the great writer. So this is something everybody needs to be in a quite consistent manner do, and start working on it. It's just taking a step.
But a great answer. I'm agree with your point about resilience and bringing all of our virtue and skills at our best. And to that questions, I'm curious as well. Can you share an example where a student or a program at Superior went beyond the idea stage and created visible community or market impact, Maimoona?
Yes. I won't say that these special project or mention, there are so many projects, there are so many highlighted projects students have been done in the category of Earth Guardian and in the category of Serve the Server Guardians. Students perform really very well, and we have a stark opportunity for students that is EOTO, and in some countries it has been used as GAT. You as a teacher, or EOTO means each student teaches each one. We know that there are so many countries who are still living in a third world countries or developing countries. We know that all those students, all those communities needs to be taught as well. And if we have been studied in our life, and if we have been able to get the education, and to able to get the education, and then started a career, and then start financially stable. So now it is our duty, even we belong to any background. We are expert in sociology, we are expert in science, we are expert in maths, any subject we are expert. Even if we can taught simple Urdu language, even we can taught some people simple English language. A lot of people don't know how to even speak English in some other countries. So if we can do our part as a youth, as a leader, I think that's a star of your life. So so our students, what they used to do is they plant one thing, that in the Earth Guardian, every student have to plant in their locality, either in their community, either in the university. That's their own choice. The second thing is they have to teach one student voluntarily in their academic career. So this is something, a very unique example that creates a visible market impact.
Got it. Thank you so much for your answer. And we'll move to Amar again. Amar, you have worked with such a diverse range of people, from engineers to university professors to project managers. And what have you learned about how different people unlock their creativity? And how do you tailor your approach for each audience?
Thank you for this question. I would like to share my art in this
Yeah,
part
sure.
as an example of how art is helpful for many people in many different backgrounds.
Mm.
Can you see the drawing?
Yeah. Oh, that's very beautiful.
Thank you. So why I'm sharing this drawing is because drawing helped me personally in many different aspects of life, because it helped me build, I describe it as a muscle in the brain that is related to discipline. I don't know if it's scientifically like that, but in many other different things that I learned blacksmithing, and art helped me, which is kind of not related, like blacksmithing and welding and metal and drawing, like, but in drawing it takes so much practice, so much learning, so much challenges, so many people saying that your art is bad at the beginning, you know, and it's kind of similar to any other thing that we want to learn in the beginning, like to start, you know. So building the muscle of art helps everyone be disciplined and focused in whatever they want. That's why they say learn music, even if you don't want to be a musician, because the music teaches us to be on a certain pattern, not like minimizing our creativity and being patterned, but being like, how would I say, discipline, like the word discipline, you know, like sit down and practice and make wrong music and try again and again and again until you become a better person in that. And then everything will be just simple and straightforward for you. Or simpler, I would say.
Yeah. First of all, I really love your drawings, and I saw your other drawings, very beautiful, and I really admired it because I cannot draw at all. So knowing you have such great drawings, I bet you're a very great talented artist. So we're almost reaching our end of podcast, and I have my last questions to both of you guys. First to Maimoona. You work closely with faculty, administrations, and students. How do you build a culture where talent development is everyone's responsibility, not just the individuals?
It is only through an institution's DNA. So how do we do it? We embed, we taught students, we have planned our ethos. So it's not my part doing the strategic planned the strategic part of the university plans as well. But what I've been observed, and what is the what I've seen in my university, and what I've seen how things work, it is totally institutions DNA actually. How it works: faculty co-create community projects with students. That's how the journey starts. Then admin supports the student-led activities, whether it's campus in activities or campus out activities. And then the peer mentorship is normalized. We can learn with anybody, from any department. The art department come and teach the AHS, Allied Health Sciences department. The Allied Health Sciences come and teach the art and students department. The art and students are doing such creative community projects that we cannot expect from the painters, designers, that how they can also, how they can also become. We expect these kinds of activities from the social science students actually. We expect these projects from the other domains actually, but how business students, how engineer students, how designers, how painters, how the other departments are working, it's totally the, we try to embed it in the campus initiatives. Okay, then it is all about creating shared ownership. So this is how we build a culture in Superior University, that peer mentorship, and then faculty and admin support is quite, quite supportive in every matters. So we are all, I wanted to say that we are all co-pilots. We are all co-pilots actually. We are doing, everyone is doing their own part in the growth, in growing the journey, and that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for such a great answer. And last questions to Amar. Can you tell us about a moment where someone in your training, maybe a manager or a university instructor, had a breakthrough using your creative approach, and what changed for them in your knowledge?
Just before I answer, thank you for the question. I'm really enjoying that our podcast is with Maimoona, because, and I would really be happy to stay in touch with you, because, I don't know if, like, how did it happen that we are together, but I think that our concept, it's like, we are from very different countries, very different cultures, but we have very similar approaches to our communities, which is very nice. So a breakthrough for one of my trainees. I remember at the beginning of my master's degree in international peacebuilding, my program director asked me to coordinate a project where she gave us a blank canvas, big canvas, and she said, Amar, you're an artist. Take this and go with your friends and create something that represents you. That's all. So we went together. We started brainstorming. Who are we? Like, who are we first in order to know what do we want to put? Do we put a flower? Do we put a rainbow? Like, who are we? So we started putting ideas about like we are faith, we live together, we are hope, we are learning, we are missing our families, we are living here in a different country, and all this kind of stuff. And then out of that, we had three main categories, or actually two main categories that are connected. Where are we coming from? We are 14 different students from 9 countries and age groups between 20 years old and 60 years old. And this is kind of like, it's very challenging. Like, what brings these very diverse people together? So after thinking, we thought that a tree represents us the most. The roots are where we come from. The trunk is we are connected no matter what. And the leaves are our values, our community living together, our education, what passions do we have that brought us together to the same program. And the students who we are working all together on this canvas are community leaders, are pastors, are psychologists, are school managers, are spiritual leaders. So some of them came back and said, I thought that I have nothing to relate me to art. Like, I'm not an artist, I don't draw, I don't paint. But with this project that we have together, I found out that I can use art as a tool for the people that I serve. I don't have to be an artist. And this is where my role comes in Amar Creative trainings, to help the person discover ways in his own discipline in order to have a better outcome. Better input, better outcome, BIBO Network.
Yeah, I really admire both of you guys' experienced and also sharing. Before I close these sessions, I want to conclude several points that you guys have mentioned. I think it's very important that we understand that passions need consistency and also practice to become a talent, and also to really create like impactful change to our world. Amar has mentioned that drawings need like several practice. It just doesn't come out instantly. We need practice, practice, and practice. And the more we practice, the more we understand our skills, and also we will have like a better output as well. And it's very important to like have need-based assessment, and also, as Amar mentioned, a personality test. And Maimoona has mentioned that before we understand what we want to do, we have to brainstorm and understand what we want to do in the future, and we have to like identify our talent. We have to know our inner self, and those come from the assessment and also personality test. So looking at ourselves, and also strengthen that with several tools such as those tests. And also, I want to mention a great point about creativity is what brings us different as a human. And to be empathetic is to be a great leader and with a purpose to have a change in our community and impact to our society. And your last point, Amar's last point about brainstorming who are we is very great. And I really agree because sometimes we forgot that even if all of us is different, we have like a several one or two things in commons, and that's what could bring us together. And sometimes knowing that everyone has a same purpose to serve the society, the same purpose to have passions to serve the people and create meaningful impact is sometimes it's what brings all of us together. And thank you for your sharing, Amar and Maimoona. And thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Perspective Fast Global Talk on Education. It's been an inspiring conversations on our theme from passion through purpose, transforming talent through educations. A big thank you to our distinguished speakers, Amar and Maimoona, for sharing your insight, experience, and powerful stories. We almost reached our end of the podcast, and I believe that your work continues to show how educations can unlock potential, drive meaningful change, and shape the leaders of tomorrow. To our listeners, if today's discussion sparked ideas or inspired you to take actions, we encourage you to keep the conversations going. And also, I wanted to ask if anyone want to ask questions or want to reach out to you guys. Do you have any social media or email that the audience can reach? Maybe you guys can mention. For the social media or email.
We have our LinkedIn profiles. You need to mention in the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What about you, Amar? Do you have social media or email that
Yeah.
you want to share the audience if anyone's want to ask questions or have follow-up contact to you?
Yes, thank you. My social media accounts are Amar Creative, AMAR Creative on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And my email address is amar.creative12@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you so much, Amar.
Thank you.
As I cannot locate my LinkedIn profile right now, but I have an official ID where if students or anybody who's been listening to this podcast and wanted to learn about, creating sustainable projects, innovative projects, that's how through writing a proposal to Maimoona.Sohail, MAIMOONA.SOHIL at superior.edu.pk. So that's how
Okay.
they can officially connect with each other.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Amar and Maimoona. Until next time, I'm Erina Gudono, and this has been Perspective Fast Global Talk on Education, where global voices come together to shape the future of learning. Stay curious, stay inspired, and keep transforming talent into purpose. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Amar, and thank you, Maimoona.
Thank you.
We look forward to meeting you soon in this UNESCO's The Assault space, and thank you for being part of our community.